it's a defined structure that they understand, and and you're telling them, hey, this is what I want you to believe, and then they can go verify it. It gives them like a starting point to cross verify. Like, I'm like, why would this not be important? You're basically telling it, this is what I want you to think. Go believe me if I'm telling you the truth or not. That's sort of.
Here's what I'm going to say. I have the unique position of having been there when that was launched and understanding why and understanding how it was used and for what reasons. If you want to skip it, I will say thank you very much for making my life easier. Because if your approach is, I don't need it, it doesn't matter, I'm happy to have less competition. Thanks for, stepping out of the race. I appreciate it. But again, you do you. So like,
What about I just saw something recently, and maybe it was clickbait, but it was like what LLM.txt doesn't matter.
No, so here's the thing. The problem with LLM.txt, and I just put out a Substack maybe a couple of months ago on this. I did a deep dive on it. The problem isn't what it's attempting to do or how it does it or the wording or anything like that. The problem is adoption and trustworthiness. So when robot.txt, schema.org, sitemap XML, when those were all launched, they were launched with explicit backing from the search providers. So the platforms themselves had a vested interest in it and said, we will follow this, we will agree with this, we want that. Not a single platform has come on board. This is a private effort on LLMs.txt. It is someone who has technically their own vested interest involved with it, but I don't believe that's their point. I believe their point is, we need something different than a robot.txt. And if no one's going to create it, I will create this and give it to you. At one point in my career, I wanted to know if I was being paid well. So I started the industry's first salary survey. I had a vested interest in understanding if I was compensated well. But then I ended up giving a survey to the entire industry that was used for a decade to benchmark jobs. So there you go, right? I get people do things altruistically or just, not necessarily for their own purposes. And I think that that's where this came from. Now, do I think that it has value? Not so much. None of the engines are on board. Google, typically, you hear these cycles where they come up with this, oh, we don't back this, they say it. And if you look, there is a cycle, there's a timeline around which these messages get repeated to us. And, Google likes to do things on their own, right? They always have. And for good reason. Like, they have the resources, whether it's people, intelligence, money, foresight, whatever. Like, they are well equipped to roll their own and just like do their own thing. So it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that Google comes out and says, yeah, we're not going to support that. And that's fine. It doesn't mean that it's not valued. And I would be shocked. Look, if I worked for ChatGPT and they said to me, hey, Duane, we have our own crawler. It's got to go out there and gather stuff. Like, how should it interact with the world? You come from search, crawlers. What should it be doing? I would be telling it to look at LLM.txt, and I would be gathering every LLM.txt I could as the platform, and I would be creating an average signal across thousands of those instances. And then I would say, which of these signals benefits me and which of these harms me? And then I would be in favor of supporting the things that benefit me and ignoring the things that harm me. And so after that, I might consider telling the world that I support this. Problem being that if I come out and say I support it, everyone hears that as a binary yes or no. Even if you explain, here are the 18 things I support. If you say anything else, I ignore it. For years, I battled the argument that robot.txt was a controller for crawlers. And everyone was in this do crawl. What's the proper do crawl? What's the proper do index tag? How do I write this? And I'm like, you don't. The assumption is the crawler will crawl everything. That's its job. It's the only reason it exists. If you let it go on its own, that's what it will do. It will crawl everything. And some of those crawlers are strong enough to break things. They will crawl that hard and that fast and that insistently. And robot.txt is a way to say, don't harm me, don't look in here, don't waste your time, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
it is strictly a blocking mechanism. It is a no object. It is not a yes object.
Mm.
And for 15 years, the debate has raged about, oh, you have to have do crawl, you have to have do index, you have to have these things. And it's like, no, you don't.
Mm.
If you just put a robot.txt up there with nothing on it, but the file is there,
They'll
you've given
find it.
it all of the
Yeah.
clue it needs.